as long as we can see it in the future.
Yeah, and it really was a big surprise, the first kind of shock of the draft after Farrell, of course. And it's just fascinating to me, first of all, when you go to these websites and you see which team won the 2019 NFL draft. Well, come on. Seriously, we're not going to know that for 2 to 3 years. And when we're talking about teams, and before we talk about the Giants, the Patriots, wow, they had a pretty good draft too with N'Keal Harry and some of the other guys they got. But talking about Daniel Jones, and I did write my sportingnews.com column this week about Daniel Jones and Dave Gettleman's pick and how defiant and defensive he's been afterwards, and making all these comments that he knows quarterbacks and he's been involved with a lot of great quarterbacks and blah, blah, blah. And come on, Dave, you don't need to be talking like that. You don't need to be addressing it. And you kind of belittle yourself in the process. All you have to say, the only person, first of all, you have to please is your owner, John Mara, at this stage of the game. You don't have to worry about the fan base. You don't have to worry about the media critics. All you have to say is let's see how it all plays out, which he did say at the end. He said, well, we'll see in 3 years if I'm crazy. Okay, Dave. But having said that, my feeling on the Daniel Jones pick is if you have a scouting department and you're the GM and you have identified this player as the quarterback that is the best fit, perhaps after Kyler Murray, or maybe they liked him better than Kyler Murray, and they like him better than Haskins. And I'm not going to get caught up on stats, like I said, because Haskins played at Ohio State. He had a much better supporting cast. So he threw 50 touchdown passes. Yeah, he's got a great supporting cast compared to Daniel Jones at Duke, who had 2 winning seasons the last 2 years, which is a nice achievement in itself. Now, we shall see how this all plays out over time. And I just will say that I'm not going to cast bad thoughts at Dave Gettleman at this stage of the game until I see how Daniel Jones does. Do I think Daniel Jones would have been there at 17? Probably. And they probably could have taken Josh Allen at 6. And if Josh Allen is a 20-sack-a-year guy, they will regret it, especially if Daniel Jones is an average quarterback. And if Haskins is an all-pro and Daniel Jones is not, again, they'll be reminded, as you said. But right now, we don't know. We don't know if Daniel Jones is the next coming of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. And so I just think it's absurd to give grades to drafts and to belittle draft picks at this stage of the game, because if they thought he was that good and if they were worried that other teams were going to snatch him up before 17, then by all means they should have taken him. Do I think that they could have got him at 17? Probably. Or they could have used their extra third from the Odell Beckham trade and moved up maybe to 10 or 11 and gotten him. Yes. But they didn't want to take a chance. And the worst thing that can happen, and I've seen this happen as a GM, is a guy that you wait on and then he gets plucked by somebody else. And you don't want that to happen either. And then you regret that forever, basically. So I think that I'm not going to criticize Dave Gettleman and the Giants for that pick.
Well, here's my view on draft grades. I believe that because we grade these people in real time, GMs have to make a decision. And they have to justify it to their ownership. They have to justify it to their fan base. They have to justify it to their roster. There are times, if you've ever covered an NFL team, there are times when, a team makes a pick and you go in the locker room, if you know some of the players will say, my God, what are we doing? So I like draft grades for this reason. We are critiquing people who had to make decisions in real time. Our critiques are coming in real time. And if they screwed up, they're going to be accountable for it. And if we say something stupid, believe me, we'll be reminded of it. So I think it's just fair. We're all putting our cards on the table saying what we think at the time. And of course, media people are going to be wrong a certain percentage of the time. So are the general managers. I just think it's fair that everybody expresses their opinion now instead of waiting 3 years and pretending like they knew what they knew all along.
Well, I think the problem with that is sometimes you just really don't know. And for example, did the Bears make a big mistake when they drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes? Well, at the time, they thought Trubisky was the best fit for their team. And did they see Mahomes being a future MVP in the league? No. And did the Chiefs see Mahomes being a future MVP in the league? Probably not, or maybe they would have traded up from 10 to get him. He would have been the first pick overall in retrospect, even though Myles Garrett's a good player for Cleveland. But a quarterback is a quarterback. But who's to say today that Mitchell Trubisky may not end up having a better career than Patrick Mahomes? Trubisky won a division title last year. He could end up winning 2-3 Super Bowls in Chicago. We don't know. Mahomes could get hurt. Mahomes could be a lesser player without
Hill,
Tyreek Hill,
and people like that,
who's going to soon be gone, and Hunt, who already is gone, and so that's what you don't know. Kareem Hunt's gone. Tyreek Hill's going to be gone, and I think Patrick Mahomes is a terrific player, and I think he will still be a terrific player, and I think he is a better player than Mitchell Trubisky. But we don't know how it's all going to turn out 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road. And so it's just hard to grade drafts. It's just hard to do it. I understand the inclination to do it, but I didn't like it as a team exec. I don't like it even as a media person today that I wouldn't do it. And I think that Matt Burke had a good comment today in Mark Craig's column about our discussion on the WCCO Draft Night show, where I asked him specifically about Bradbury and several other of the top offensive linemen, Jonah Williams, Andre Dillard, as we were going into the first round. And I said, Matt, what do you think about these guys? Who do you think's the best fit? He said, Jeff, I haven't even seen them. I haven't watched them. I don't know. And I'll tell you in 3 years. That's really the truth of the matter.
Another interesting angle of this is 538, the website, the analytical website that does politics but also does sports, came out and said basically their research over the years indicates that trading down is a great idea. They basically said you trade down, people get wrapped up in their evaluations, they get wrapped up in urgency of drafting a certain player. They said if you could pick one draft strategy that is proven to work year in, year out, it's trading down, getting extra picks, getting more swings at it, and having a better chance of one of those players you get being a good player.
Well, I like the way Rick Spielman worked the draft this year, and he got all these extra picks. And the Vikings with 12 draft choices, I'm not sure anybody had more picks than them.
I know, and they started with 8.
Yeah, exactly. And so that I thought was good. I thought, as you said, you have more bodies, you have more people, more potential, and there are, as I said, great players in every round. So I thought that was fine. What I don't like is trading out of the first round into the second round. Especially if they're really solid players on the board. We did that back in the 80s with the Vikings, and I've talked about this before. We picked up guys like Jarvis Redwine in the second round, and I think Robin Senline, and we traded our first round for actually 3 2s, and none of those 3 2s ended up being impact players that we would have had in the first round. And so ever since then, I never wanted to move out of the first round. I don't mind moving down in the first round a little bit, but not out of the first round. The later rounds, yeah, you can move down, you can slide, pick up some extra picks, unless there's somebody that you really have highly rated with a first-round grade in the second round, as I'm sure the Vikings did with Irv Smith Jr., then you got to grab them.
As you can tell, Jeff's playing hurt today. We're going to wrap up here. I appreciate Jeff fighting through his cold. Let's get a final thought from Jeff. Once again, check out bitesquad.com. Use the promo code TALKNORTH for your first delivery fee waived. And after you use that, just keep using Bite Squad because they've been great for our network, and we really like the job they do. And thanks to whitebearlakesuperstore.com. Check out the website. Go chat with them. They can answer all your questions. We do appreciate their sponsorship. Check out TalkNorth.com for all the shows across the network. All right, Jeff, final thought on the draft or anything else NFL related?
Well, I think that it's an exciting time for teams after the draft, and it's kind of like Christmas morning. You've got all these new presents, and you get to unwrap them at the rookie mini camp coming up. And so I think that's a fun time for the team to start seeing these guys. But again, it's running around in their shorts, and it's not hitting in camp and in preseason games and then when it really counts. So don't jump to conclusions too early on anybody that's going on right now and anything that's happening in the next few weeks of mini camp, OTAs, and an actual rookie mini camp this weekend. And so, but I think from the standpoint of what was the biggest weakness of the Vikings last year, the offensive line, things look better today. but they've still got some work to do in putting all the pieces together, and hopefully that'll be the case.
Well, we'll keep talking about it throughout the offseason. 2 football shows at TalkNorth.com, Jeff Diamond's Vikings and NFL Insider, and the Viking Update Show. They complement each other very well. Thanks to Jeff for all the good stuff. Check out TalkNorth.com, and we'll talk to you next week.